Welcome back to Hannity. Now, as the left's attack on Dr. Ben Carson's conservative ideology continues, I've taken a lot of flack for daring to point out the truth about African-American conservatives in general and for saying the following. If you're African-American and you're conservative, you are vilified. You are demonized. You are called names. You are attacked. That is the ongoing epidemic that goes on. There's no freedom of speech for African-American conservatives in America.
No,
Now, not everyone disagreed with me, including my next guest, A.J. Delgado, who wrote this in her Mediae column, quote, as the left has consistently demonstrated throughout the years, racial politics trump all. Try being a minority who dares be a conservative. Brace yourself. It is not only a matter of how few will give you a voice or listen, but rather the many who will try to silence you. Joining me now, Mediaite.com editor A.J. Delgado and Cure president Star Parker. Good to see you both. Good to see you. A.J., I was very impressed and appreciative, frankly, that you put yourself out on the line and you said, yeah, this is true. Tell me why you agree with that in your experience.
Well, thank you, Sean. You're one of the few to speak the truth about this, and the truth is that black conservatives and many Latino conservatives don't have freedom of speech. There is a tremendous amount of censorship, and it's a crisis and an epidemic, as you said, that we face. When you have conservatives who are minorities, who are vilified, who are viciously attacked, whose livelihood is threatened sometimes even, or whose sanity is even questioned. We saw that with Herman Cain when Janine Garofalo accused him of suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. When you have all of that, of course there isn't freedom of speech. It's a form of censorship when you're intimidated into silence, and that's what we see happening all the time with minority conservatives. You're one of the few who stood up and actually called it as it is.
Where are all the liberals that claim they have a monopoly of compassion? The ones that say conservatives are racist and dog whistles. Where are all these liberals when blacks that are conservative are attacked? Their silence is deafening because you know if it was a black liberal attack, they would be outspoken and passionate and talk about racism in America.
Right. The liberals are the ones doing the attacking. If they can't destroy you, then they will ignore you. They will cost you your livelihood. It's social suicide. And it is professional suicide. And the reason that they use this tactic is so that other blacks won't speak out. Remember, for the last 20 years, 30% of the African-American community polls on our site. They tell the pollsters that they are evangelical and conservative. They might not vote their values, but they certainly say their values. So if they started to see more voices speaking up and speaking about new ideas. The Congressional Black Caucus has controlled every inner city community across this country for the last 40 years. And look at the result. When we start getting to the issues, then they have to be silent because this falls at the feet of the liberals.
Well, look at Dr. Carson, for example, which A.J. wrote about. What do you make of the attacks against him? I look at him, and this isn't just for black America, this is for every American. Grew up, was not a good student, had somebody who loved him. He started to read and study and abandon TV, and look at how successful he is.
That's right.
In America.
Which is a threat to liberalism. His life story embodies American exceptionalism, that anyone from any background or ethnicity can make it. Their whole MO is to keep blacks in the mentality of slavery, dependent on them. I mean, look, blacks are not only dependent
Are they threatened by him?
Oh, are they threatened by him? And in fact, this threat is even larger than when Bill Cosby tried to step off of their plantation. This threat is deep into black America because he's a hero in black America. Remember, most of our children have read his book, Gifted Hands. They did a major movie on his life. He's soft-spoken. He embodies what we all say we want, freedom and personal responsibility. And this is a big threat to big government.
A.J., back to you. What do you think the impact of Dr. Carson is? Because a lot of people have been analyzing it. And I just think he's a powerful voice, and his life story is inspiring, and he's made a decision. He's going to speak out.
That's right.
And I don't think he's going away anytime soon, in spite of the attacks against him.
Well, he's a powerful voice, Sean, and a tremendous role model. But more than any of that, he's a huge threat, as Starr said, to the left. He breaks that narrative. He refutes that narrative of this racism that we have in our party, supposedly, according to the left, of the dependency on the state, all of that. Dr. Carson stands for the direct opposite. So being such a threat and such a massive inconvenience to the left, we've seen the attacks on him from day one, whether it was dismissing him, ridiculing ridiculing him, slandering him by saying that he made remarks that he did not actually say. The attack will continue on Dr. Carson the same way it has on all these other black conservatives.
We have recourse now.
Predominant civil rights leaders, though.
Oh, they're
predominant where's the Congressional Black Caucus?
I think that they're afraid to speak out. I mean,
where's Chris Matthews?
My goodness, look at his.
Where's Chris Matthews?
Yeah.
Well, no, Chris Matthews. They're not going to speak out. They're getting their little peons to do it and peek away a little bit because he's too big. His identity is too big in Black America.
So you think that the Congressional Black Caucus, the CBC, is afraid to?
They don't know what to do. Right, exactly.
But they would want to?
Remember, Cuba Gooding, one of their heroes, played his part in the movie. We're talking Hollywood. His story goes beyond anything that they can control.
Yeah, AJ, what were you saying?
And now that we have social media, they can't stop these voices coming out of the black community.
AJ?
And what's interesting is you have, the reason I mentioned Chris Matthews is we've heard for the past 5 years that the reason all criticism of Obama is racially motivated, racially based. That's what we've heard for 5 years. And yet, for Dr. Carson, where is the outrage when this man is criticized? Then it's not about skin color. Then, no, we just don't like what he's saying.
Yeah, but we do have to watch out
because talk about a double standard.
You can't even say the word Chicago or urban
without being racist.
That's racist.
Exactly.
I know it's all racist now from him, and we don't need him to be our spokesperson for what's racist and what is not. No, what's racist is the liberal policies in this country to keep people dependent on government. But when you think about someone like Big I'm so thankful that he's on our CURE board of advisors. I've known
Dr. Carson?
For a while. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
But your background is amazing.
Well, now my story is a little different from his. Remember, his mom refused to go on welfare,
right.
And she worked hard to make sure that those little boys could study. And then they grew up to be amazing men. Him, a doctor, his brother, a scientist.
You grew up in this system.
My life was confusing, and so I started making real reckless choices. See, I believed the lie of the left, and I ended up in all types of criminal, drug, and sexual activity that landed me in that dark hole of welfare dependency for 7 years in and out. And it was a Christian conversion that got me out. But notice the same conclusion. He's a Christian man as well. See, this is why they're so threatened on the left, not just by black conservatives, but by religion itself. And it's one of the reasons we have all of these other debates.
Yeah. You know, thank you both. What we're going to do next week on this program is we're inviting prominent black conservatives who are demonized. We're going to have an audience show, and we're going to break this wide open because the rest of the media has ignored it. So thank you, Star. Good to see you. AJ, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, John.